All right, 4 examples of substitution. This was a quiz in my Algebra 1 class, so again, this is review. You should see right away there's 2 equations for number 1. They each have x and y, so you should picture yourself that these somehow are, 2 lines. I don't know what they look like, but they're going to be 2 lines that cross in space. All right? I don't really have to have a graph, so I'm not going to make a graph. But I look here and I see the top equation is there, and I notice the bottom equation has a y and equivalent stuff. So when I look at this y, I know it's equivalent to that. And when I bring that in, all right, I can bring it in here, I can replace 6x minus 23 here. Well, then I can distribute negative 6 times these, and I show that down here. And the big mistake I saw on a lot of the tests usually is the sign on this number. 2 negatives make a positive. Well, 6 times 23 and negative 3x minus that. 6 times 23 is negative 1 is 138. So I'm going to take away 138 on both sides. At the same time, I'm going to combine negative 3x and negative 36x and make negative 39x. One of the big mistakes I saw, again, was right here, sign mistakes. This is not 120. They're both going left, so it's negative 156. Divide both sides by negative 39, and you get negative 156 over negative 39, which is positive 4. All right? And then we have at least found the x value. Now, we just got to find y. And I will use the second equation. And I get y is positive 1. And then I write that as a ordered pair. So the solution to the first problem is 4 comma 1. Second one looks a lot like the first, except x is solved this time. All right, so I see that the x is there. So you notice I take the bottom equation this time because that one wasn't solved for a variable. I just took this equation, put it here, and I put the x in parentheses. This is all I did. All right? But then I see up here x is equivalent to this. So I can replace x with negative 4y minus 16. And now it's one variable again, so I distribute. And if I do that, the big thing is signs, and I catch that it's this. And again, I'm showing the multiplication here. And I'm going to have negative 8 times 16, which I'm pretty sure is minus 128. And then 8y plus negative 32 is negative 24y. And I'm doing like terms, right, because they're on the same side. This expression and this expression, the left side of the equation, are the same. So now I just got to move the 128 to the other side. And I get negative 24y equals 120. Divide by negative 24 on both sides. Y equals, and now I'm going to take a guess. 24 is about 25, so I'm going to guess 5 of these. Yep. And y is negative 5. I will use my x equation I developed to get the other variable. Negative 4, negative 5 minus 16. 20 minus 16. And I get x is 4. My answer is 4 comma negative 5. Problem 3. This one's more work. I look here and I see this equation, and I know there's nothing there I want to deal with, but all of a sudden there's no x or y equals. And this time I have 1x and 1y. I get to pick what I solve for. I could solve for y, I could solve for x. I'm going to solve for x. I'm going to take that first equation and subtract y on both sides. And I get x equals negative y plus 5. I like to write in descending power. I'm not going to use this equation any longer. I'm going to use this one. All right? And it becomes now the same exercise. I see I have x, so I write the second equation. X can be equivalent to what? Negative y plus 5 this time. Distribute to negative 7. 7y minus 35 minus 4y equals negative 17. Like terms. Watching my signs ever so carefully. Add 35 to both sides. I get 3y is 18. And I get y is 6. I will use my new developed equation to find x. 6. Write that as an ordered pair. Negative 1, 6. Now, I used the blue equation to find x. Now, I want to check it. I plug those values in here. Negative 7 times negative 1 minus 4 times 6 equals 17. That's a question. The answer is yes, it does. And that's how you check your answers. Check them in both equations. Last one, number 4. Can't do anything here. 3 and 2, can't really solve. But up top, oh look, y has a coefficient of 1. So I will take that equation and solve for y this time. And I get y equals negative 2x plus 5. I'll use that with this equation. 3x minus 2 instead of y, I'll replace it with negative 2x plus 5. 3x minus 4x minus 10 equals 4. Negative 1x minus 10 equals 4. Negative 1x. That's plus 4x. I was seeing that there's a math mistake here. Negative negative is a positive. I add 10. And I thought to myself, I saw this here, guys, I was going to get some very large answer that probably didn't make sense. Typically, the values are close to the origin, so x is 2. I'll use my developed equation to find y. And I get 1. 2, 1. So my ordered pair is 2, comma 1. Again, 4 substitution problems. Keep practicing. All right? The more you practice, the better you get.